Welcome to the Shootin The Que podcast presented by Heath Riles Barbecue with tips, tricks, and an inside look at some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
Welcome back to another episode of Shootin The Que. Today I'm joining my lovely wife Candace and Miss Misty Banchero. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. Thanks for having me.
So you're better known as the Seattle Butcher's Wife online, right?
That's right.
So tell everybody kind of who you are and how you got started in the barbecue.
Sure. Well, let's see. I'm from Seattle, Washington, Seattle Butcher's Wife. I got started into barbecue just trying to help the family create a little bit more recognition for the brand online and start an Instagram page. So I sat on the couch one day with the butcher, and we talked about how to tell the story. They have a really great story of a family-owned business, third generation. And I had been doing some of the social media things for the job that I was in. So I got comfortable with it, and we decided to start a page and started putting together some meat pictures. One thing led to another, and I thought, well, I want to help him, but I don't want to be the face of the brand. I don't want to be the meat lady. Little did I know. And Seattle Butcher's Wife came about. So I just basically wanted to help and support from a distance. And then I started looking at the hashtags of meat and barbecue and became kind of obsessed. And I thought, look at those guys. They're like middle-aged dudes with a beer by the grill. That looks fun. They can do it. I can do it. So I got inspired and I wanted to learn.
Wow. So you didn't do any barbecuing whatsoever up until that point?
None. In fact, I wasn't really even that great at cooking, to tell you the truth. Of course, I have kids, so I did what I had to do to get by to make sure everybody was fed. But I had no passion around that. I worked a lot. I traveled a lot. And so this is all completely new to me. I just got inspired and started to learn.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you had a long time career in corporate retail through the pandemic, right?
I did.
It says you was in skincare and makeup.
Yeah, I did that. Fashion, jewelry. I've done a lot of different things. Most of it's been in clothing. But yeah, at that time when the pandemic happened, the brand I work for specifically, there was, you couldn't come in, you couldn't touch anyone's face. And so we were working remotely for over a year. It got really boring to, be able to teach people online and do all of the Zoom calls. So intermittently, I had a smoker going, and I was learning how to, time and temperature, figure some things out in between calls or whatever it was, breaks and weekends, and it became kind of an obsession.
So it's got to be pretty cool, though, your husband being a butcher, to be able to walk into a meat shop and say, I'm going to cook this today. I'm going to cook that.
I knew how many guys have said, I wish I was married to a butcher, wink, wink, because of the access, and knowledge, too, and being able to figure out where to start, what cuts to get. And so, yeah, I do. That's one of the things that inspired me. I thought, I can't believe I've kind of been sitting on this. I have access to get some things. And it's not just a butcher shop, but we have a USDA meat processing facility in Seattle. So we have 50 employees. We supply private label products. We do thousands of pounds of sausage every single day for like local health food grocery chains, and we do some fast food chains. We do casinos. We just service high-end restaurants. We do dry-aged steaks. We do a lot there. So I've been slowly easing my way into supporting that business through this whole Seattle Butcher's Wife thing. But yeah, I have a lot of access to things and learning how to create the rubs and specialty products. For me, one of my goals might not be to be on stage for Memphis in May taking the title, but it might be like, I'd like to see Seattle Butcher's Wife sausage in a case in my hometown. That'd be pretty cool. So things to come.
That is pretty cool. So you kind of opened up a line of questions for me with your husband and them being in a third generation meat family. So I guess their grandpa kind of started that and all. And had they always run a USDA facility, or did it start out like that, or just kind of grow into it?
It didn't start out like that in the 1930s. I think 1932 is when it started in Seattle. So they came from Italy, northern Italy, in Genoa. And their family had one of the biggest, probably the only big meat lockers back in the day when people didn't have refrigerators and they had to have like a place to keep their meat fresh. They had meat lockers for rent downtown in Seattle. They had one of the biggest distribution places for steaks and meat cuts back in the day. And when I met my husband, he was still working with his dad in the business, and they were mostly servicing restaurants. And then they were USDA at that time, so it's been over 20, 25 years. I don't know when it started. But at the time I met Angelo, they started introducing HACCP plans and really strict criteria to be able to have a USDA label. So I got to watch them go through all of that and learn all of these different things. They have an inspector on site every single day.
Yep,
So you
I
can't,
knew that.
You can't drop anything.
You know, and you have to pay that inspector a salary, correct?
Oh yeah, you sure do. They have their own office. They are king of the earth, and they're constantly rotating. So sometimes you have a really great one who partners up with you, and sometimes it can be pretty intense.
Wow, that is pretty crazy. I had no clue that y'all done that kind of processing. So how many head do y'all process a year?
Well, we're in the city limits, so we typically don't do whole animal processing.
Sides of beef.
So at this point, we do smaller cuts, the sides, box beef. It really depends on whatever the project is. But because we do a lot of sausage, we do a lot of pork product, we can get anything. But on a daily basis, they're not breaking down whole animals every single day.
Okay.
We have a lot of employees like steak cutters, people in different lines, lots of ground beef. We have these huge machines. Someday, if you guys come to Seattle, I'd love to be able to show you.
I would really
but when they
love
say
to
butcher
be
shop,
able to
it's
see
not really
a
a butcher shop.
USDA plant, because I don't know if you knew this. I worked in a meat market from the time I was 15 till about 21 and learned a lot. And I've almost bought 2 butcher shops.
Oh, neat.
Myself. I've come really close, and kind of the first deal fell through, and the second one, the gentleman had a heart attack or stroke, and kind of in the midst of it, and his son moved back to take it over, and I'm still really good friends with him to this day, and all that. But yeah, I understand the meat business, and I kind of have a little passion, and that's why I like to say I got my knife skills from.
That's
great. What I
great.
like to say, and butchering skills and stuff like that. But
Well, very much like barbecue, there is a really cool community of butchers.
it is.
And I've gone to the World Butcher Competition before to see the
really?
international butchers competing. It is something. It's just
I've
really,
seen some
it's something for
videos.
the whole world to see. I've tried to
Yes.
share it as much as I can, but it's just amazing the way, especially other countries, really like value the craft and the family.
We don't value it
It's
here
amazing.
like they do in other countries.
It's not the same.
And I don't think we really, I mean, I know we talk about our love for food, but when you get down to the mix of it, we've kind of let corporate world take over a lot of our food to where other countries hadn't, which is pretty cool. And I have been fortunate enough we hadn't to go to Spain or Italy or any of those places to see some of those iconic, butcher type and sandwich halls and sandwich places, and just, I don't know, unreal at the food processing business in all these days.
It's
what
true.
It was.
It's true, and that's one thing that I think about, like with barbecue rubs and recipes and things, and trying to be as close to the meat as you can, and not so much of the chemicals and all the extra things that we can do. And that's probably one of the things that draws me to backyard barbecue, to make it taste good, and not necessarily to win a competition, although I totally value that and I like that one bite.
But it's so much packed into one
It
bite,
is.
and you're having to put so much flavor and salt and
Yeah.
and things like that. Let's not face it, to me, one of the most pleasing meals, I think, is a good old just salt and pepper dry rub rib. Just salt and pepper and hung in a drum and grilled up, and put over a little bit of open flame. That's just so simple versus the barbecue that we eat, and the sugar and the sweet and the glaze. All that's fine, but I can't sit down and eat a rack of ribs like that anymore. I can't. I mean, I probably eat a half rack. But
So where did you start when you decided, okay, I want to learn this? Like, what was there a cut of meat that you said, okay, I feel comfortable with that? Or was it just kind of just everything? You just
Well, it's pretty overwhelming because I'm the kind of person like wants to do everything. I'm taking notes. I'm saving all these. I'm watching Malcolm. I saw you guys like Heath. Any of the YouTubers that are very successful, those are the people that inspired me, especially in the beginning, because it wasn't just like, oh, that's trending. It was more like, I need to learn how to do this. I need all the details, and because I don't want to mess up, you know. So I'm like rewind, play, rewind, play. So as far as the cuts of meat, I didn't even know at the time that a pork butt would be easy. It looked like a big, massive piece of meat. It must be challenging. But, you know, of course, after doing one or two, I'm like, wow, this isn't as hard. And then you can tweak it and figure out how you want to do it your way. So I think my very first cook, I bought a used Traeger off of Craigslist. I wasn't even sure I was going to commit to this. You know, and the first community that found me with hash eggs and whatever was the Traeger guys, you know, because they were just such a little group of friends. And anyhow, I got one, and I remember it was like a beef tenderloin, and I didn't even know that that's what when you're ordering it looks like that. What is that thing? And I've always been kind of tough too. My husband would love to teach me more, but I'm very resistant. Like, no, I got this. I learned about a recipe online, you know. And he's like, listen. I'm like, I know, I don't.
We deal with that. We deal with that too.
But sometimes you just have to learn. I mean, some people learn differently, but, you know, I wanted this to be my fun, you know, independent, kind of like, I think I can do this. And until I got really confident, then I was like, okay, I'll listen to a few things now.
So what do you think is the hardest piece of meat to cook now that you know the butchering side of it?
Yeah, well, that's a tough one. Probably the one, well, obviously brisket is always a challenge for anyone, even the experts, because I think I've made some really nice briskets over the past few years. But every once in a while I make one and it's not that great. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? Or dang it, I shouldn't have fallen asleep. You know, little things like that. So I think that's just a constant challenge for its size and obviously, you know, the different directions of the meat and you know, cooking it evenly and getting your timing right. That's a challenge. But that's a challenge I'm up for. And I think that if you love barbecue, you like that challenge. You want to keep getting in there and trying to do it better. So that I like. Other cuts of meat might involve where the pork skin. So if I'm doing a porchetta, I love to do rotisseries if I get a chance, and that's kind of a fun family thing I like to do out in the courtyard so we can just hang out while it's doing its thing. But getting the skin to be perfectly crisp, because I know what it takes to make it look pretty for the gram, but I also know what it takes to get an actual really good bite out of that.
Where it's got the good bite through and everything.
Yeah, a lot of times I'm like, okay, that looked pretty, but I bet that was hard to bite. So I think mastering, you know, the pork skin and getting that perfect crispness where you can actually take a bite of it and it's, you know, not just for the crunch or the little crackling for the video.
That's one of the things I've never cooked.
Oh.
It's on my list, and I've actually never cooked a beef Wellington myself.
Oh, okay.
Two things that I've never, and it's actually they're on my list to cook this year. I just, you know, actually have the pork already ready in the freezer to do it, and I hadn't done it yet.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that video.
I still got to figure it out. I've got me a new Santa Maria grill ordered.
Awesome.
And so when it gets here, I think it's going to take about 12 weeks. So when it gets here, I'm sure that'll be one of the first things I would like to do. Yeah, I ordered a Santa Maria, by the way.
I'm just hearing this.
Like, wait a minute. I have a new Santa Maria I just got. It's Yoder, and it is amazing. I'm so excited to be able to do some more work on it.
I've still got to pick a color. I got the guys down at M&M.
Nice.
They're gonna
I
do
love
me
those
one,
guys.
so.
They're the best.
They are. They build some really, really cool pits out of Texas, and it's about time that Heath has him a Texas pit.
I got to go visit the plant. I got to go see them, and I actually got to see one of those grills coming together.
Really?
And it was just all the details. Beautiful.
I tell you, we was fortunate enough to stop by Pitmaker one time, and those guys have an operation out there. I think they own the whole block, but they build some incredible trailers, and they're, you know, walk-around trailers and units and how they fit together. They're really precise at their craftsmanship, too, which is pretty cool. See a lot of that.
Still never got to cook on one of their cookers.
I
never got to cook on one of their cookers.
I know.
like
I need to
wanted
get one. He keeps asking me what color I want, and he'd send it.
Well, pink, I guess. It's going to be mine, clearly. So.
Well, as far as learning butchering and things like that, how has the other employees kind of been since you've been around now kind of went through some of that and trying to learn, like some of the ones that's been there through the years? How do they feel about like some of that now?
I think there's pride in the building. I think for, it was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago that they took their meat processing facility, which is 2 blocks away from our home, like on the main, like in 2 blocks away from where they grew up, super tight family community. In fact, I live next door to my husband's brother and parents, all 3 houses in a row in the city. It's crazy.
Wow.
But anyway, we moved that location to a larger facility and bought out another Italian family-owned meat processor and have more space. And so I think with more employees and more jobs and different things that we were doing in that location, there's just like more excitement and pride. Oh, what is Misty making again? Like, and sometimes people come in and they're like, hey, I heard about you. And they're looking for a butcher shop. And it's not like there's a meat case at the front. We're wholesale. Like we sell.
Oh, so y'all don't
even have a case. If any of our friends or even strangers come by, we'll take care of them. Like, oh, you want a tri-tip? Hold on a minute. We'll get you one because we have them. We have huge, coolers and freezers, but we're not set up necessarily for retail. We do like to do seasonal things. Like I know for the holidays, we'll probably do, prime rib, and sometimes we will, do seasoned ones or debone them or make it easier for the customer. And make a little package for the holidays. And we sell locally. We will ship, but it's harder to ship. Like for a smaller business that has way bigger priorities than little retail things, that's usually it's on me.
Well, if you're
So I have to go down
processing for bulk, like y'all are processing, like you said, casinos and grocery stores and sausages and things like that, I can understand that. Do y'all have an extensive line of products that you make as far as sausages go and all that? Do you make bolognas and salamis and
we don't do those dried cured meats. No, we don't. But we do fresh and we do smoked. So we sell, just to restaurants and to grocery stores, whatever they want. Sometimes it's private label. So in our neck of the woods, a PCC might be a miniature Whole Foods kind of situation, and all of their stuff in the case is made by us. So, and it's all antibiotic free, all of the healthy qualifications, non-GMO, all the things to be able to get into those kind of stores. So we don't do cheap sausage. We do the
all of it's good
high
stuff.
Quality, high end, all good for you ingredients. No allergens ever because you just can't in those places. So, and we play with recipes, especially since I've been doing this. We like to come up with different ideas that we do. Or there's a little mini sausage maker in the test kitchen, so I'll come in and be like, I'm sick of it. Why don't you guys make a jalapeno, cheddar sausage? All the barbecue guys do it. Let's do this. And so we'll do it. We support a chain of Mexican food. Taco Time is the name of it, Taco Time Northwest, and we make crispy burritos. We provide all their meat products, and they're working on a new flavor for their chicken crisp burrito. So my freezer's full of all these test samples that we've been trying different ingredients for the filling. And so, I have a lot of different things that go on besides my backyard barbecue activities that I share on social media. It's just hard to share it all. I'd like to be able to do more to share more of the butcher's story. He does have an Instagram, so maybe I'll start sharing more.
Do y'all do any pre-marinated meats and things like that, like water solubles type stuff or any
So
of that?
much of it, yeah. And even that is during and after the pandemic times, it would save the restaurants labor and safety at the time, for more people in the building, in the kitchen, to be able to have all pre-marinated everything. Like we serve chicken restaurants that do fried chicken. We have all that chicken soaking in all the good stuff before it's ready to go out. So all they have to do is fry it.
We're testing some stuff right now. We're working with a company out of South Florida on some water soluble, like chicken and things like that for some businesses and a Cajun and the garlic butter flavors.
That's a great idea.
It's
There's a need
it's
for
pretty
that.
cool to go through that. And the first time they sent products to the house, they sent.
He was out of town.
I was out of town, and they sent 3 coolers.
Oh,
to my house.
Actual coolers,
taped
but
up
like FedEx.
from FedEx with
in
the
a
stickers
cooler.
on the outside. And they were 50-pound bags of meat in each one.
Oh my!
Not individually sealed, all bulk.
What kind of meat was it?
Boneless, skinless chicken breast, boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and then
No, like chicken wings. Or
chicken wings.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll
Yeah,
come
we got
home
a
and there'll be
barbecue
like a
chicken wing.
sealed meat pack that has no label. I
He
go, what
doesn't
is
even-
this?
He doesn't even.
And
They're
then
tests.
we got it all,
Yeah.
went through one round. We're still testing another round
Okay.
now. We got one more test to go through, and then I don't know, it might get turned loose into retail. Who
Awesome.
knows? So we'll see how it goes. I mean, we're kind of letting somebody else sell that,
Yep.
you know, and all. So that's not my.
Yep.
I don't want to say it's my specialty. I can get into it, but yeah, I don't want to deal with another group of buyers in a store.
I understand.
I don't personally. It's hard enough trying to deal with dry spice buyers on some stuff, for sure.
So part of the reason that you got into this too is you wanted to inspire women to do more grilling, because there's not a lot. I mean, there is, but it's the minority really. So that's part of the reason you wanted to do that as well, right?
Well, I didn't start off that way. I didn't even know that I would like to do it. I mean, I just wasn't even sure about it. But it wasn't very long until I realized, and I think that's when you start getting more followers around on the social media part and more people interacting with you, or a ton of questions. That's when I realized there's people that are curious and they have questions. Maybe I can answer them. And I think that's just building confidence. And if you can build confidence in anyone, women or kids or men, then they're more likely to get out there and do it themselves. So I have always been a person that likes to inspire people to do their best to, I worked in retail, so it's, winning, being number one in sales and all of the numbers that go with that. So for me, if I can help someone be successful at something they had no idea that might actually be fun, like I did, I love that. That makes me happy. And since I've started doing this, I've realized, and I've watched other women, my friends and family and strangers, say, "Oh, I don't know how to grill. Oh, I never do. Oh, my husband does that. Oh, and I'm kind of one of those people like, oh, I remember those, parties I would have, and my friends would come over and be like, is Angelo going to make some burgers? And he's over there chatting with his brother somewhere, and I'm like, well, just wait till he comes back. And I can't believe I said that. Like, why would I wait till he comes back? I'm going to turn on that grill now and get you your burgers, So I think there's so many people out there that are like, just let him have his own time out there. That's a space. That's fine, but you can make your own space too, and it's pretty fun. So you never know.
What advice would you give women looking to get started into barbecue?
Really good question. Anyone looking to get started into barbecue there are so many resources. I can't even lead you to one woman or one man that's going to give you all the answers. There's so many resources. I'd start by searching online how to barbecue. And there's so many people that have basics, 1, 2, 3. I don't have a video that says, okay, guys, grab your tongs. I don't have that. I could make that video, and I probably should. But, I learned, and I didn't really need much more than that. It's all out there for the taking. Finding the people that inspire you with the way they communicate and, some of the information that they give, and starting there and not being afraid to make your own decisions, because the people that coached me in the beginning would say that your biggest mistakes are your biggest learnings. So if you don't go out there and try to cook, you're never going to learn what works and what doesn't. So no one wants to waste meat. I certainly don't. But I've had a lot of learning just from oh, that was way too spicy. What was I thinking? Or I thought I could let it go longer. Should never have done that. So you just learn sometimes on the go. And I think it's just don't be afraid to make mistakes and find some neighbors that like to eat.
It's not hard around our neighborhood to find somebody that likes to eat. Well, lately you've partnered, you and your husband both, right? On a salt line, is that true?
Oh, yeah. Well, we had partnered up with Saltery. This is like a woman-owned business in Massachusetts. They're wonderful. And we created some high-end kind of finishing flaky salts. It's a partnership together with them. It's not something that you're going to see on the retail shelves. They don't do anything big as far as it's not going to show up on Walmart. But it's available online, and it's really great. I haven't heard anyone say that they haven't loved it after trying it.
What's it listed under online for anybody wondering?
Oh, saltery.com. So you can find it on the link in my bio on Instagram at Seattle Butcher's Wife.
Okay. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
For sure. Wow. So do you primarily just do Instagram is what you primarily focus on?
Yeah, I do. And it's funny because I've had so many opportunities open up. That's where it started. And I still have a lot of connection there with, my followership or whatever you want, my friends. I do some advertisements for, some products or companies that I believe in, and I like to share how to make recipes with products. That's fun. Some of the other things I really enjoyed this past year are just going to events where I get to do demonstrations on barbecue. I love talking to the public. I love cooking out, beyond my backyard. I love interacting with people. So I've had the opportunity to judge contests. Like the second time I've done Brisket King in New York. That's one of my favorite ones. It's for charity, but you've got these New Yorkers and New Jersey guys, like my brisket's the best, and it's just so fun to see all of the different characters in barbecue. I'm going to go to Texas next week, and I'm going to be organizing with Al Fragoni this
I know, I
open
wish we
fire
could
meetup.
go.
Oh man, it's going to be amazing. There's I can't remember, 11 or 13 different countries that will be represented there in open fire. So just to be around people that may or may not even speak your language but have the same passion for what you do, it's just so great. I love that.
What role do you think social media plays in modern barbecue culture?
Well, just like I said earlier, if I'm going to tell anyone how to start to get busy in barbecue, I'm probably going to lead them to somewhere in social media. And I know that not everyone does TikTok or not everyone does, one or the other, but there are resources everywhere, even to YouTube. And that's where you can get a lot of more in-depth information. And I think it plays a huge role because if you have a brand, you can make your brand blow up by sharing it every day with your audience and what you can do with it. So
it is, being consistent is one of the key roles on social media. I feel like that's helped us, identify our brand and get it out there to a national level. But it, it's definitely changing day to day, and it feels like each social media platform resonates to a different group of people. TikTok seems to be the younger crowd now, or the party crowd, I guess, as you would like to say, right? It seems like Facebook is kind of a mix between everybody. And then after that, Instagram still seems like a lot of women and a lot of pictures, right? It went through a video phase, but it seems like it's back to pictures now. So it seems like it's always changing and updating and right back and forth.
Well, it just depends on who your audience is. On Instagram, for me, my audience is like 80% men. I'm trying to find the women. I'd like them to come find me. That's barbecue.
Ends up that way.
Yeah, it is.
I think now we've changed from, what is it, about a 10% to.
When I first started, it was 90-10.
It was 90-10. Now it's about an 80-20 right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a good age range that it falls within too, within those men, like
it does.
the specific age ranges. It seems to be as well. I think.
And it depends on the platform as well of which age range of those people too.
I always tend to think that people that are on TikTok and Instagram are comfortable using their apps. They're comfortable using Pinterest. They're comfortable using their apps. Someone who's on Facebook is totally cool with going to the home PC and scrolling around and reading long articles and kind of skipping through some ads. And, they're a little different, like my dad or something, like looking at Facebook. I use Facebook a lot for my personal, for family that's distant. And to tell you the truth, I've been pretty frustrated with them because my page was restricted or something for community guidelines violation. Anything with meat sometimes ends up there.
It's the meat and the animals.
It's so frustrating. Yeah, so I haven't been able to get help with that. It's very upsetting. So it's been like 6 months. I haven't even been able to.
So PETA's getting you, huh?
It's getting me. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, tell everybody kind of where they can find you at online if they want to connect with you and follow you and all.
Super. So if you'd like to follow me, you can find me at Seattle Butcher's Wife on all formats.
All right. Well, Misty, it was good chatting with you today. I've been trying to get you on for a while, and it's always interesting, and I learned a lot today. I had no clue. I thought y'all were a butcher shop in general, and I didn't realize y'all were actually a USDA processing wholesale facility. So that's pretty cool getting to see that, and you probably do get to see some very cool stuff, and I don't know. I need to get up that way and tour that plant.
Definitely.
That's pretty cool.
We'd love to have you guys.
Well, we'll see y'all next week on another episode of Shootin The Que.
If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels. Leave us a review if you've enjoyed the show. And until next time, keep shooting the Que.